Hi there, my name is Heidi Thiemann and I'm a PhD student at the Open University and I'm based in Milton Keynes. So my job title, I guess, is researcher or PhD student, either works. So yes, my job does give me a pretty good lifestyle and one that I'm happy with. I do a lot of traveling with conferences and going to telescopes, so that kind of satisfies the travel bug. And I also have a pretty good work-life balance. As someone who can choose their hours, I choose to work 9 till 5, like most people, but if I wanted to start at 7 in the morning or start at 10 a.m., I can do that and just work however I like and what suits me, as long as I get stuff done. So how I got my job as a PhD student or researcher is quite typical to the academic sort of route. So I did my A levels, I went to university and studied physics, and then I applied for lots of jobs, actually both in academic roles, so doing research roles, and I applied for jobs in industry, so more engineering and space roles. And it actually just turned out that I was given this job first, and I said yes to it, and I've been really happy with it. So a typical day, assuming we're not in a pandemic, I would normally get up and commute to the office where I'd have probably a little bit too much coffee to get me going for the day. But I would sit down and usually answer a few emails and then check out some papers. So papers are written by other people, other researchers, and I get them sent to my inbox and I check out a couple before I actually start my own work just to see what's happening. And then it really depends. So I might go to meetings with my supervisors or with other people I work with in my astronomy research group, or I might actually just spend the day working on anything I like. I've got a huge amount of flexibility. So for example, yesterday I actually just sat and wrote a paper for the entire day and went for a walk at lunch. But some days I might be told you need to work on that. So it just really depends. And it can be anything from sitting down and writing to being up on a mountain at a telescope. So definitely the absolute coolest part of my job is being able to use telescopes and not just remotely. So I can, if I want, to sit in bed in my pajamas working and using a telescope and just telling it what to do on the keyboard, or I can go and travel to a telescope. There's some amazing facilities in South Africa that I've used up in kind of the mountainous remote regions, kind of 5 hours drive out of Cape Town, and it's just absolutely beautiful. You get to see the night sky incredibly clearly. You get to see the Milky Way, all the stars you probably never see if you were living in a city, and just being able to stand out there in the dark is incredible. And then having control of this great big massive telescope to actually look at these stars is even more fun. It's a really good question, and I've been trying to think of things I dislike. And it's genuinely really hard to think of what I don't like about being a researcher. So I guess I would say that, like any job, you have stress and you have deadlines and you have things that you have to do, and they can kind of build up every now and again. Um, but I really enjoy my job. I absolutely love it, and I have a great time doing it. So I would say there's not really many negatives. So at school, I took all the sciences at GCSE, and I also took astronomy as an extra one. So I think I was the only person in my school that actually did that. So I kind of did that in my lunch break. And then at A levels, I took sciences. So I took maths, chemistry, geography, and physics. And I use these to go on and actually just study physics with space science and technology at university. So basically having that kind of good founding, good basis in physics and maths put me in quite good stead for studying physics at university. The most rewarding events in my career so far, it's it's kind of hard to tell because I've had quite a few exciting things I've enjoyed. So I've already mentioned that I've been lucky enough to go to telescopes, and that's been extremely rewarding. You go and make a plan, you collect data, and you get to analyze it and produce something yourself. I also just think it's the opportunity to travel and meet new people. So I think that's one of the most rewarding things. I really love finding out about people's research and about all the things they're working on. So when you get to travel to another country to be at a conference surrounded by other people in astronomy, it's just really rewarding and exciting. So my dream job is definitely astronaut. Going to be completely honest with that. I still want to be an astronaut. I think since the age of 11, I've wanted to be an astronaut, and that dream is still one that I want. I'm completely aware it's probably not possible, but it's something that I would love to do anyway. Look down on Earth from space. I think it would be incredible and life changing. But if I'm more realistic, maybe I think I would definitely love to continue either in astronomy and be an astronomer for quite a long time, or maybe work more on the kind of human space flight program. So the UK and Europe are basically gearing up to actually have their own launches. And it would be really exciting to actually start working more on either human spaceflight or local launches. So imagine just going to Cornwall on holiday and watching a rocket launch. I think that would be great. Yeah, so if you were thinking about becoming a researcher, I think it's really important to remember that researchers aren't geniuses. There's this kind of common misconception that everyone thinks you've got to be Einstein or Stephen Hawking to actually be a researcher, but you don't. At school, I wasn't great at maths. I wasn't great at physics. I wasn't a top grade student and everything. Um, I think the characteristic you probably need is just being able to plug away at something and kind of just put a little bit of hard work in. Um, I think most researchers are completely aware that they're not geniuses, they're not the top of their field. Everyone just wants to try and do well though. And I think that's the main thing. You don't need to be top of your class. You just want to have the kind of the ability to put time into something that you love. And I think that will kind of do you well.